The story begins not with a whisper, but with a frantic, heart-pounding escape. We see a woman, her hands trembling, her eyes wide with a primal sort of terror that only comes from running for your very life. This is Katie. She is dazed, her hair matted, and blood, not hers, perhaps, but blood nonetheless, stains her surroundings. The night is oppressive, the rain acting like a curtain trying to hide a crime. She isn't just leaving a house, she's fleeing a prison. She finds herself at a bus station, the fluorescent lights humming like a warning. Behind her, the shadow of a man looms, Detective Tierney. He is cold, relentless, and has the authority of the law behind his obsession. Katie boards a bus, watching the world she knew vanish into the dark, heading toward an unknown destination, clutching nothing but the hope of disappearing. The bus carries her across state lines until it makes a scheduled stop in a sleepy, sun-drenched coastal town called Southport, North Carolina. As the doors open, the salty Atlantic air hits her. It's a sharp contrast to the cold, sterile violence she left behind. Southport is the kind of place where time seems to move slower, where the trees are draped in Spanish moss and the locals know each other's names. Something about the quiet peace of the harbor speaks to her shattered soul. She decides right then, the journey ends here. She isn't Katie anymore, she is a ghost trying to find a body to live in. She secures a job at a local seafood shack called Ivan's. The work is hard, the floors are greasy, and the smell of fried shrimp clings to her clothes, but it's honest. It's a camouflage. She finds a secluded, run-down cabin deep in the woods, far from the prying eyes of the main road. It's broken, dusty, and lonely, perfect. She spends her days scrubbing floors and painting walls, a literal manifestation of trying to wipe away her past. But peace is an expensive commodity for someone like her. Every floorboard creak is a footstep. Every shadow is a threat. In town, she encounters Alex Wheatley. Alex is the embodiment of Southport's gentle spirit. He runs the local general store, a widower left to raise 2 children, Josh and Lexi, on his own. Alex is handsome in a rugged, tired way, his eyes carrying a weight of grief that mirrors Katie's weight of fear. Their first meeting is awkward. Katie is defensive, her walls built of high-grade steel. When Alex offers her a discount on a yellow bucket, she looks at him as if he's offered a poison apple. She doesn't want kindness. Kindness is a hook that pulls you into a life where people can find you. Despite her resistance, Southport begins to bleed through her defenses. She meets a neighbor near her cabin, a woman named Jo. Jo is ethereal, appearing in the woods with a soft smile and an uncanny ability to say exactly what Katie needs to hear. Safe is a state of mind, Katie, Jo tells her during one of their quiet walks through the sun-flecked forest. Jo becomes the sister Katie never had, the only person she begins to trust with the fringes of her personality. Back at the general store, Alex's daughter, Lexi, takes an immediate shine to the mysterious lady from the woods. Children have a way of seeing past the masks we wear. Lexi's innocence starts to chip away at Katie's resolve to stay isolated. Alex, sensing her loneliness, leaves an old bicycle at her cabin, painted a bright, hopeful yellow. When Katie sees it, she's furious. She rides it back to the store, her face flushed. "I don't need your charity," she snaps. Alex looks at her, not with anger, but with a profound, quiet understanding. "It's not charity, Katie. It's just a bike. Everyone needs a way to get around." This is the first turning point. She realizes that in this town, people help not because they want something, but because it's the human thing to do. As the days turn into weeks, the fear begins to ebb, replaced by a terrifying new emotion, affection. She starts spending time with Alex and the kids. We see a beautiful sequence at the beach, the waves crashing against the shore as Katie laughs, a real, genuine laugh, for the first time in years. She watches Alex with his children and sees a man who is whole, even in his brokenness. But while Katie is finding a safe haven, back in Boston, the nightmare is far from over. We cut back to the city, where the lighting is harsh and blue. Detective Tierney is spiraling. He is drinking heavily, staring at a missing persons poster of a woman named Erin. We realize then that Erin is Katie. Tierney isn't just a cop looking for a fugitive. He is a man who has lost his possession. He uses his badge to abuse the system, filing false reports, claiming she's a dangerous criminal. He is a predator using the tools of justice to hunt his prey. He walks through their old house, touching the things she touched. His obsession borders on the demonic. He finds a clue, a bus route, and the hunt narrows. In Southport, the romance between Alex and Katie reaches a crescendo. They go on a date to a rustic outdoor dance, the air thick with the smell of jasmine and the sound of a fiddle. For a few hours, the past doesn't exist. Alex tells her about his late wife, the pain of losing her to cancer, and how he never thought he'd feel a spark again. Katie wants to tell him the truth. The words are on the tip of her tongue. My name is Aaron. My husband is a detective who beats me. I think he's going to kill me. But she can't. To speak the truth is to make it real, and she isn't ready to break the spell. They share a kiss under the moonlight, a moment of pure, cinematic bliss that feels like a shield against the coming storm. But the shield is paper thin. While they are falling in love, Tierney is driving. He is crossing state lines, fueled by vodka and rage. He arrives in a nearby town and starts showing her picture around. He's getting closer. The tension builds like a slow-burning fuse. Back at the cabin, Katie is painting the floors a bright Atlantic blue. She's making it a home. Joe appears in the doorway, her presence as calming as ever. You love him, don't you? Joe asks. Katie nods, tears welling up. I'm scared, Joe. If he finds out who I am, or if he finds me. Joe interrupts her softly. True love is the only thing that's stronger than fear. The peace in Southport is a fragile glass house, and the stones are already flying. While Katie is busy building a life that feels real, the shadow of her past is literally driving toward her. Detective Tierney is no longer just a man on a mission. He is a ticking time bomb of alcohol and obsession. He arrives in North Carolina, his eyes bloodshot, his movements erratic. He isn't following the law anymore. He's following a scent. He starts visiting local post offices and general stores, showing a photo of a woman with long, dark hair, the version of Katie she tried so hard to kill. Back at the general store, Alex is starting to notice the cracks in Katie's story. He's a man who lost his wife to an illness he couldn't fight, so he's hypersensitive to the people he loves being in danger. One afternoon, while visiting the local police station to drop off supplies, Alex sees a wanted poster that stops his heart. It's her. The face of the woman he's been falling in love with is plastered on a bulletin board, labeled as a fugitive wanted for first-degree murder. The world around him seems to tilt. He feels a mixture of betrayal and paralyzing fear. He rushes to find Katie, his mind racing through 1,000 questions. How could this gentle woman who plays with his children be a killer? He confronts her with the poster, his voice trembling with a mix of hurt and demand for the truth. Katie collapses inwardly. The wall she built has finally crumbled. She tells him everything, the years of systemic abuse, the night she finally fought back in self-defense, and the fact that Tierney isn't just a cop, he's her husband. He won't stop, Alex. He doesn't see me as a person, he sees me as a piece of property that ran away, she cries. Alex's anger instantly shifts from her to the monster hunting her. He realizes that the murder charge is a lie manufactured by a corrupt man to use the entire police force as his personal hunting dogs. He takes her in his arms, promising that Southport will protect its own. But the danger is no longer theoretical. Tierney has found her trail. The atmosphere shifts from a romance to a psychological thriller as the sun sets over the 4th of July celebrations in Southport. The town is alive with lights, music, and the booming sounds of fireworks, sounds that, to Katie, mimic the gunshots and violence of her past. In the middle of the crowd, Tierney is moving like a ghost. He sees her. He sees her laughing with Alex's children, and his rage reaches a boiling point. To him, her happiness is an act of treason. He waits until the celebrations wind down and the streets grow quiet, the smell of gunpowder from the fireworks still hanging thick in the humid night air. The climax begins at Alex's general store. Tierney corners Katie alone, his presence terrifyingly calm at first. He smells of cheap whiskey and old grudges. Did you really think you could just leave, Aaron? He whispers, using her old name like a weapon. He tries to manipulate her, telling her he's forgiven her, that they can go back to Boston and start over. But Katie is no longer the victim he broke. She looks him in the eye and tells him she's staying. This rejection flips a switch in Tierney. He becomes a monster. He pours gasoline all over the wooden store, the place that represents Alex's life and Katie's new beginning. He lights a match, and within seconds, the drywood of the old general store is a roaring inferno. While the fire rages, a brutal struggle ensues. It's a battle for survival in the literal and metaphorical heat. Tierney isn't just trying to kill her now, he wants to burn down everything she loves. Alex arrives, seeing his livelihood and his family's history going up in flames, but his only thought is Katie and the kids. The fight is raw and messy. It's not a choreographed movie fight, it's a desperate struggle for breath and life. Amidst the smoke and the falling embers, Katie manages to get hold of Tierney's service weapon. For a moment, time stands still. The man who terrorized her for years is at her mercy. A single shot rings out, louder than any firework, and the nightmare of Detective Tierney finally ends. He falls into the fire he started, consumed by his own hate. As the fire department arrives and the town gathers to watch the ashes of the store smolder in the early morning light, there is a profound sense of loss, but also an incredible sense of relief. Alex has lost his business, but he hasn't lost the people who matter. They sit together on the dock as the sun begins to rise over the Atlantic, the water shimmering with the promise of a new day. Katie realizes that a safe haven isn't a place you find on a map, it's the people who stand by you when the world is burning down. But there is one more mystery to be solved, the mystery of Jo. Throughout her time in Southport, Jo was the only person who truly understood her. She was the one who pushed her toward Alex, the one who gave her the strength to stay when she wanted to run. As Katie prepares to move into Alex's home permanently, Alex hands her a letter. He explains that his late wife, Jo, wrote several letters before she passed away, one for him, one for each of the children for their milestones, and one final, mysterious letter addressed to her. Katie's heart begins to race as she opens the envelope. The handwriting is graceful and familiar. As she reads the words, the world around her seems to dissolve into a soft, ethereal light. The letter is from Alex's late wife, Carly, whom the town and family called Jo. In the letter, Carly writes to the woman who would eventually find her way into Alex's heart. She speaks of her love for her husband and her children, and her one dying wish, that someone would come along to take care of them, to love them as she did, and to bring laughter back into the house she left behind. The realization hits Katie like a tidal wave. She remembers the walks in the woods, the advice given in the shadows of the trees, and the fact that no one else in town ever seemed to interact with Jo when they were together. Jo wasn't just a neighbor, she was a guardian. She was the spirit of Alex's wife, staying behind just long enough to ensure her family was safe. Katie looks out the window toward the woods where she first met her friend, and for a fleeting moment, she sees a shimmering figure standing among the trees, smiling with a peace that surpasses understanding before fading into the sunlight. This revelation recontextualizes every struggle Katie faced. She wasn't led to Southport by accident. She was called there. The safe haven she found was a gift from one woman to another, a hand reaching out across the veil of death to pull another woman out of the darkness. As the film concludes, we see Katie, Alex, Josh, and Lexi on a boat, sailing out into the blue expanse of the Atlantic. The sun is bright, the air is clear, and the shadows are gone. Katie wears a locket with a picture of Carly inside, a tribute to the woman who saved her life. The story leaves us with a powerful philosophical truth: we are never truly as alone as we feel. Even in our darkest moments, there are forces, both seen and unseen, working to bring us toward the light. Katie's journey from a terrified runaway to a beloved mother and partner is a reminder that no matter how far we fall, we can always find our way home if we have the heart to look for it. The past may leave scars, but the future is a wide open sea, waiting for us to set sail.